Welcome back, Mike. Today we're talking about episode 27 of Co-Created, How Burcu Caught the Storytelling Bug. Our guest was
Mm.
Burcu Şimşek. We had met her at the International Digital Storytelling Festival, and that episode was released in December of 2024. What resonated with you in that conversation?
Yeah, well, it was great to meet Burcu at the conference, of course, and I love how you guys reminisced a little bit about that International Digital Storytelling Film Festival, and in particular, you guys talked about how much you talked about how much you appreciated her presentation style
Mhm.
in the panel that she moderated, and it was really great. And then at the end, she thanked you for that because I think what's really cool is that sort of highlights the value of having a good moderated conversation about a digital story, a facilitated conversation. That's a big part of common language
Mhm.
sort of teaching, is not just how to make the stories, but how to share the stories in a way that allows for good conversation. And both of you guys recognize that. And Burcu had a great example of it. She has done hundreds of presentations, right, of
Mhm.
sharing digital stories in the medical schools that she sort of works with, right, and facilitating conversations with those students. So there was a reason why her session was really well facilitated. She had lots of practice doing that. And to me, that really highlights, the value of having a facilitated conversation, and the way that that can sort of help professionals. And she was talking about how professionals watching these stories of patients and families, it helps them make sense of the work that they're doing and the value of the work that they're doing, and develop a bit of a professional identity. And so, you could just throw up a patient story on a screen, have a med student watch it, and they would be like, "Oh, great story," and walk away and have
Mhm.
nothing different about their life. But when you embed with that story a discussion with that student, it really draws out those lessons and allows them to internalize those messages in a very valuable way. So, anyways, I loved all of her conversations about the med school stuff she was doing. I loved you guys talking about that. But ultimately, what it really brought home for me was the importance of a good story to start a good conversation and change people's beliefs, attitudes, and values in a positive way.
Well, and we're coming off of the Common Language Digital Story Slam, and so we've just
Yes.
done our own version of how to have those facilitated conversations, and I think that one piece of it is having the storytellers or the facilitator on stage to talk about
Hmm.
what the process was like, and that brings a whole other element to it. At the
Yeah.
Digital Storytelling Festival, they did have storytellers in the audience and facilitators in the audience that sometimes it got turned to, and those discussions were much richer than when it was just like almost the way we did the discussant at the end, where it was somebody's opinion on all these stories, but you get so
Hmm.
much when you talk to the storyteller and the facilitator.
Yeah. Yeah. It's great to hear sort of, like a professional voice sort of looking at a story and interpreting it. I think there's lots of value in that. But, I think it's the most value comes from the audience turning to the person next to them and sharing what stood out to them. Right. And then hearing from the storyteller and the facilitator, if possible, to get more context and the story behind the story, just like co-created, right, is sometimes, one of the coolest parts of digital storytelling.
I agree. Well, thanks, Mike, for your thoughts on Burju's episode. Um, I hope we get to do all these story slams again. I know we've got our fingers crossed
Hmm.
about that one,
Yeah.
but this particular conversation was about episode 27, How Burju Caught the Storytelling Bug. Um, you can listen and find all the links in the show notes.